Hey Pyros, Tim Renicky with Fireworks.show, and if you want to see some of the cool new features coming in Finale 3D, you're going to want to stick around. Okay, first and foremost, a big thanks to Will and the crew over at Finale Fireworks for giving me access to the beta and allowing me to do this video for you guys. This is not a comprehensive rundown by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm not really getting into a whole lot of the crazy technical new features, but really just a cool sneak peek at some of the cool new stuff, the 3D renderings, and some modeling and stuff that you can do within the software. If at any point you kind of see something that I breeze over or I don't cover that you want more information on, leave it down in the descriptions below and I'll do a follow-up video so we can cover that topic. All right, so if you guys are ready to go, let's get started. Okay, so if you're a Finale business user, you can already see some obvious differences. The first of which is this catalog window is completely detached from the display window. These are two independent windows. So now what you can do is from the Windows menu, you'll notice they're labeled 1 through 6 here. These are the keyboard shortcuts. You can really quickly switch between, this is a script and a catalog parts split screen. This is a rack catalog parts and script split screen. And then, or you can just simply press the number associated with those window configurations and very, very quickly switch between them. So from a power user standpoint, that's a really welcomed addition. If you've got, again, if you're in a multi-monitor configuration, you want to have many of those windows on each screen at once. You can go down here and kind of cherry pick which windows you want. If I want the rack view always up, I could throw that over on my leftmost monitor. The choice is up to you. My only hope is that when they do release the software, maybe soon after, again, I haven't played with the software too much. This actually might already be baked in, but I'm hoping they allow you to customize and configure these keyboard shortcuts on your own to your liking. And not just for the windows. I'm hoping they allow you to do it, kind of across the entire menu system. But overall, if they don't, it's still a very welcome feature. I think that'll be a benefit. Okay, so I'm going to head over to the catalog parts window. I'm going to expand this so you can see all the attributes here. And because catalog parts kind of illustrates some of the major changes that have happened in Finale 3D that make it a lot more flexible, especially from a racking side. And again, I'll get into that in a minute. The grids here work exactly as you would expect. If you click on any of the headers, they'll sort ascending, descending. You'll also notice as I clicked on size there, there's actually racks now in the catalog parts inventory because they are inventoriable parts now. They're part of your inventory. So you may have, for example, some 3-inch racks that have maybe 12 tubes, 10 tubes, and 8 tubes. So you've got a quantity count on each of those. Now, when Finale 3D rather goes to rack, you can now specify in this specific position, I want only 12 count 3-inch racks. Maybe I want 12 count throughout the entire show, and it'll let you know, hey, listen, you actually only had 12 of these, but you actually need 14. You're actually too shy. Do you want me to use 8 count or 10 count racks, to supplement things of that nature. So it really makes things easier, when you're dealing with large scale shows. And certainly a lot of professional-based features that make this a lot easier if you're working in conjunction with a pyro company. All right, so in addition to that, you've got this nice sort feature, or the search feature rather. So, and comparably to Finale Business, where there was kind of only predefined filters, you can now go hog wild. You can filter and search this thing however you see fit. So for example, if I'm looking for a green, I'll say size equals, and size being this column, size equals 6. So this is all my 6-inch shells that have a green keyword in the description, this description here, or it'll match off of VDL. And another thing, VDL is their I believe it stands for Visual Display Language, but essentially all this is this green chrysanthemum designation here is exactly what this shell is going to look like. That's what it's using. And there's a few bugs. This looks yellow. They're still working that stuff out. And it might actually be the chrysanthemum that's actually coming through there. But then the like green peony, as I just added all those to the screen, sorry. This green peony, if I get in here and change this to, for example, red peony, you'll notice that the visual representation of it updates immediately. So VDL is actually what's controlling how these effects look. And that was something that, you know, a lot of beginner or kind of even intermediate users in Finale Business didn't quite have a handle on. This VDL is extremely powerful and can really give you a quick way to kind of script exactly what these effects are supposed to look like, especially when it comes to cakes. It gets really, really powerful. So anyway, you can go nuts with this search, you know, adding in any of these fields as search criteria. So some really nice stuff there. Okay, so I've got a square back up here, and let's have some fun. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm on this. Actually, before I do that, these controls down here are how you navigate around in this 3D space. So this icon, as it may look, is your rotation. Then now if I click and drag, if I switch to this, this is your x-axis, left, right, forward, back. And then this is your Y, up and down. The last is then your zoom, back and forth. You can also use your scroll wheel on your mouse if that's easier. And then if we right click, go to 3D navigation shortcuts, there's a bunch of hotkeys for your keyboard. So Control, click and drag is rotate. Control Shift, click and drag is move. And that's generally how I operate. You know, it's just easier. If you're into like 3D games or if you've done some AutoCAD work, this is going to feel right at home. If not, it's going to take you a little bit to get used to, but again, it's not bad. So, okay, with this pointer selected, I'll drag over top of these, make sure they're all selected. I'll know they're selected because they're actually white. Then I'll go ahead and delete these by pressing the delete key. Then I'll head over to positions, add multiple positions. We'll add in 25. And again, moving kind of fast. This isn't necessarily a tutorial, but just really, again, just a demo of some of the cool features here. Then we'll go to positions, arrange into a circle, and we'll go 250. You can do it in feet or meters. You just need to specify, and it gives you that in kind of the tooltip down here. And that will automatically put these into a circle configuration. So let me back up here. And, you know, what the heck, maybe we want to kind of sit down like we're at a shooter view. Let me move forward here. And then we'll kind of pan up like we're looking up. Like this might actually be kind of our shoot position. Okay, so now I'll come in here. Again, these are still all highlighted, so we'll add in some orange peonies. I've got this timeline kind of accelerated here, 10 seconds, so we'll back it up a bit. Add some pinks in. I'll back up a little bit more. We'll add in some greens. Again, just kind of getting a few going here. And you can see now, as I'm scrubbing back and forth in the timeline, this stuff is actually happening in real time, or as I'm scrubbing. So, I mean, how cool is that? That'll help out quite a bit as you're kind of trying to time these or, you know, look for nuances. So another cool feature is if you highlight over these, you can right click and go to combine as group. Maybe these are our pinks. Whoops, those weren't our pinks. Actually, those were something else. Whoops, I got out of order there. But maybe we can combine these as a group and say this might be, you know, group 2. And this will be our orange peonies. So combine, and we'll just say orange. And this is nice because, you know, like when you get into big finale situations where you have a lot of effects going on at once, if you were in Finale Business, you'd know that timeline to get really, really, really cluttered. And this is a way that you can group those like effects into kind of these control groups that make moving these around and isolating them a heck of a lot easier. So again, another really, really nice feature that's been included. Okay, so let me move these kind of closer together. And actually for this, I don't know if it'll do it. So I'm going to actually go in and say break apart group. We'll break these back apart, because what I'm going to do is break apart. We're going to highlight all of these, and I'm going to say effects. Is it an effects or sequences? Here it is. Spread out accelerating, and we want the total duration to be 5 seconds long. So that's going to say your average time interval is basically 6/10 of a second, or I'm sorry, 6/100th of a second. And your acceleration rate is 10, 10 being the fastest. So maybe we want to take this down to like 5, I don't know. And then you can auto add grouping if you want directly from this window. I'm going to leave it not grouped first and then hit enter. And you'll notice it now has spaced these out as we'd expect. So now if I just kind of spacebar through this, and you can see as we got going, the orange was ripping around a lot quicker than the green was. So just a really, really cool effect. Very, very simply done, you know, using some of the predefined functions and methods in 3D. So, okay, so really quickly, I want to go through the racking configurations and how that's changed from Finale Business. So let me go ahead. I'm going to back out. We'll rotate up here a bit. Actually, let me back way out here. We'll select all these, go ahead and delete. Oops, we got that straggler back there. Oops, a few stragglers. And then I'll just highlight over these and blow those effects out. And then I'll go ahead and Control L. We'll add in a single position here, and I'm going to add in maybe just a handful of 4s. And we'll go, oops, if it actually searches here, there we go. Then a handful of 3s, maybe a dozen 3s or so. And then we'll add in 2 Z cakes, just so we get some cake representation here. Okay, now I'm going to go to racks. And you'll notice there's a number of ways that you can add racks. I can add racks for the entire show using any rack in the part window, or using only the selected racks in the part window. So again, if I searched for a specific 3-inch rack, I could force it to be used at this position. You can do it for selected positions. So again, if you got many positions and you want specific racks at certain positions, that's an option as well. Same options there. And then for selected events, you can come in here and select all your 3-inch in the show, and then only rack those specifically. So a lot of options in racking. So we'll go ahead and rack for the entire show. Again, I'm not particular in this case. We've just got one position. So using any racks in the part window. So we've got those 2 cake racks, the 4-inch racks, and then 2 3-inch racks. And then it says you have no leftover devices, which means cool. We've racked everything. We don't have any that is kind of orphaned. I'll hit continue, and it'll take us to our rack view. I'll kind of expand this a little bit so you can see it. I don't know if we can expand this yet or not. It doesn't look like we can. All right, so let me get back to the center here. And you'll notice that here's our 3-inch, 4-inch, and those 2 cake racks as we would expect. So now you can go ahead and you can place these if you want, anywhere you want. So if these were going to be over here, the 4-inch was going to be down here, these were going to be up here, you could do that. And then Finale Business is going to keep them there when you address. So if I come up to addressing, address the show. Naturally for me, we're going to be using Cobra. So Cobra 18M, maybe we use hundredths. We're going to first sort these assignments based on the position. Then you can get creative, right? However you need these to be assigned in a logical order. So maybe you sort them by the size of the shell. Maybe you want it by angle, or maybe by event time like it was. Then you can get even more granular if you want. So just a lot of really nice features there. And then module constrained to a single position, so they won't overlap positions. And again, you can constrain, slat constrain, pin constrain. You can really get granular here. And then also the max E matches per pin. Since I just basically lumped a bunch of them in at the same time frame, Finale is going to say, hey, I can throw all 10 shells on one queue because they're all firing at the same time. Well, that might not be, feasible, depending on the power output that you've got. So maybe you just want to force 4 maxes or 4 E matches per pin. You can do that. Then I'll go ahead and hit enter. It'll go ahead and address those as we'd expect. So we've got 24 E matches, 7 pins used, and there you go. You'll see that representation. And if we readdress using maybe, event time is really not going to be any different, but maybe by part number, and we'll do it by 10 matches instead. You'll notice that none of the racks move whatsoever. Those groupings stay intact. So some just a major change is going to make a heck of a lot of a difference in my scripting, on those bigger shows with multi-positions and such. You can really kind of lay out your rack configuration whenever you kind of see fit after they're assigned, and you don't have to worry that, man, if I've got to readdress this show for whatever reason, I got to go back through and clean all this up. Gone are those days, which is a blessing for me, at least. So, and then just a lot of good information, in relation to those positions, the racks, the sizes, part numbers at those positions, and so on and so forth. So, this is definitely a welcome feature. Then you can actually really quickly switch between positions if you had multiple positions up here from that rack window. You can also do searching within the rack window. So if you're looking for, maybe where your 4-inch shells exist. Might be bugged out. Oh, there it goes. So at position 1, it'll filter these tables based on this search window up here. So another cool thing is that obviously you'll notice it also filters the actual racks on your screen. So I'm only seeing 4-inch there. All right, so some more fun stuff. Let's add some 3D models. Obviously we're working in Finale 3D. What would it be if we don't add a few models to work with? So I'm going to go back to the design view real quick here. And I'm going to zoom out. We'll go ahead and actually delete that entire position and those effects out. And what I'm going to do is head up to, actually, let me show you this first. We'll go to Songs, Add Song, and we'll just add in this PGI real quick. They now have kind of a light audio editor now built right within with software. So you'll notice this dotted line. You can take and drag this along your timeline. You can also, if you grab this kind of or the triangle here and move it forward, you can add fade in and fade out effects on the front or the back. And then if you grab the square here in the front, you can actually trim the audio directly within the software, and then again just still move this stuff around. So that is really, really helpful. Remove some of the need for like Audacity and needing to kind of combine multiple MP3 files together or WAV files together and doing those fade in, fade out effects, trim adjustments. All that can be done now directly within the software. So again, just wanted to show you that really quick before we got into the modeling. So now we'll head to Scenery, and I'll go to Models. And you can browse and download SketchUp models. Takes you to a website. Basically anything that has any type of popularity or fame to it, you can generally find a 3D representation or a model built for it. I've got some downloaded already just to kind of speed some things up. So if I head out to Apps, Statue of Liberty, we'll load Lady Liberty in there real quick. I'll rotate around. And again, this isn't to be perfect. It's just kind of to show you that, this is the capabilities of the software. You can actually then go to Scenery, go to Landscape and Water. We could go to Draw Water in a large area. It'll switch modes here on us real quick and say, hey, go ahead and click on the ground to create large bodies of water. Then just press done when you're done. So I'll just really quickly paint New York Harbor in here real quick, and you'll notice you get awesome, just nice little 3D reflection effects. If I now, let's go back to 1 here. If I now Control L, it'll drop that position in, and you'll notice it'll actually snap to that 3D model as you'd expect on both the X and Y axis. So I can place these and copy these quickly kind of out to each one of these stars real quick. Whoops, I missed that one. It's all right. And then again, like I said, you can then Control A. It'll select all of the positions on your map. We can add in a few of these 3-inch maybe here, and kind of like we did before, right? We can then add in, maybe some 3-inch red mines. And it kicked me forward here. Let me back out here. And I think it actually added a position window. Whoops, that's not what I want. Bear with me here. Sorry about that. If I go to camera keyframes, let me delete that one so it stops adjusting that camera on me. And now I can highlight these, go to sequences, spread out accelerating, and maybe the total duration, maybe maybe 1 second. And acceleration at 10 is good. Enter. And yeah, then we'll go ahead and shoot these off. And you don't really get the, let me zoom out a bit more so you see that reflection nice. But, so yeah, this is just kind of a real quick tidbit of what's coming in 3D, some really, really cool stuff directly out of the box. You know, there's a lot that I know Will and the crew are going to be adding later on. They're going to be wanting feedback, and hopefully the software comes out soon. They've been in the works for, you know, quite a number of years now. And I'm sure, you know, they're ready to see the kind of the fruits of their labor too. But I'm quite impressed, really excited for what they got going on. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, so that about wraps up our quick run through of some of the cool new features in Finale 3D. Again, if there's anything that I kind of breezed over or that you saw that I didn't cover in the software, let me know down in the comments below. And let me know what you think about what Will and the crew have done with this new release. As always, we appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.